Hello, welcome to Talk a Good Game. It's the match preview. West Ham United against Aston Villa on Sunday. Back to the Premier League. The Europa League is on pause for a week at least. And Gonzo, can you kick us off as always with your thoughts on our upcoming opponents, please?
Yeah, well, it looks like they made the right decision by appointing Steven Gerrard. That's for sure. You think he's certainly done it in the right way in terms of going and learning his apprenticeship, a clever apprenticeship, actually. I feel, because I think he went and did it at a good club, a big club as well. But also just before that, because I think he came in when Brendan Rodgers was still there. Celtic had been so dominant that he almost had a free pass not to win that league straight away as well. Just improve Rangers a bit. But I think Rangers were improving anyway because they had to be, because obviously they'd been punished before and they'd been relegated and had all the sanctions. Organically, Rangers would have carried on growing. So it was almost like a little safe seat for him to learn. But he did do well. He did, of course, win the league. He managed to put together a good team up there as well. A few misfits, few stragglers, and he did it. And he, the cynic might have said he might have been helped by Brendan Rodgers leaving or whatever the case may be, but nonetheless, he got the job done up there. And I just think it was a safe way. There will always be comparisons with him. It looks like he's stuck with it. Him and Lampard are stuck with the comparisons with each other for all of their career as players. I remember it when they were young players at sort of under 21 level, senior players, and they're going to get it as managers as well. But you have to think that his route to learning the job was he found a far more comfortable route. Looks like Villa have done really well. Doesn't give a lot away, does he? He's not an effervescent guy. But you get the impression he really does strike me as a leader, Geo, a real leader.
Yeah, Frank Lampard's still getting it. Everton getting smashed by Tottenham, and all the Tottenham fans were singing, "You're just a crap Steven Gerrard" to him. So even now, he just can't get rid of it. I've been very impressed by Gerrard. I was a little bit suspicious, rather than jumping on the what a signing for Villa bandwagon, because while he did well with Rangers in the league, he only did well with Rangers in the league. He didn't win the cups or anything like that. And for a club of that stature, you expect them to compete on the domestic cup fronts as well as win the title. Saying that, he did win the title by like February or something. But he done really well. It was I agree with you, it was a safe job. And I think to some extent, I think Villa's a bit of a safe job for him as well, because he's gone down there when they've been pretty crap. Dean Smith was struggling all season. He couldn't get his new players working and stuff. And it was just a case of, you can come in and just make the football a little bit better, pick up a few wins, you're already doing a better job than Dean Smith. But I have been impressed by him. I think when he first come in, obviously they started winning immediately. He sorted out the defence a little bit, which was extremely leaky prior to his arrival. And it was a bit of a shambles, actually. Villa used to be what Everton are at the minute. Every time a team attacked them, they looked like they were going to score. He sorted that out, but then sort of Coutinho arrived. It's like, well, what formation are you going to play now? How are you going to fit Coutinho in? And he's switched up in the last 3 games to a bit of a 4-3-1-2, and I quite liked him. He got asked after they walloped Leeds, he got asked, about his formation. He said, well, I've got 2 really good number 9s. I want them both in the team, scoring goals. I want to score goals. I want to play attractive football. And I just thought, what a mentality to have as a manager as well. It's not, worrying about clean sheets or anything. Of course you want that, but he's worried about sticking 2 past the opposition. And then chances are you're going to get something from the game as well. But they've been purring recently. I've actually watched quite a bit of them in the last 3 games that they happened to win all 3. Before that, it was 1 win in 9. I remember seeing a tweet by a Villa fan on the 9th game. So it was 1 win in 9, 9th game, the game before Brighton, whoever it was. And some Villa fan says, what's the difference between Steven Gerrard and Dean Smith here? What's the difference? And someone said, well, on the pitch, nothing, but off the pitch, we get a little bit of a course. So I thought that was quite good. You can hear Steven Gerrard saying in your head. Yeah. But I think the last 3 games, I think they've been fantastic. Swashbuckling football, Gonzo. Every player's at the top of their game, attacking football. It's just clicked, and it's scary as an opposition. But as a Villa fan, it must be bloody good to watch. Right, before we talk about more Villa, point in direction of the video sponsors, the One Football app. If you're a Villa fan, get it downloaded. Keep up to date with all the rumours going around Philip Coutinho. It's the big one, isn't it? Can you get him in this summer? You've got the transfer fee agreed, but the wages are a big stumbling block. You're going to have rumours every day for the rest of the season. A bit like West Ham with the likes of Declan Rice. So West Ham fans, you want to keep up to date with the latest Declan Rice and other stuff as well, i.e. the fitness of Jared Bowen, how Sevilla are getting on at the weekend. Everything is on this app. Myself and Gonzo think it's the best football app for the football fan. We don't have to say that. That's our own opinion. And you especially need it on Sunday, because an hour before kickoff, you get a notification on your phone. So, excuse me, the lineups are out. So you can go and have a look and see if Steven Gerrard's made any changes. or David Moyes has made any changes to your team. Links in description, pin comments. Use that link to download it. Helps the channel out. Right, next season. When we did a cup of tea, and someone basically said, "Are you worried about Newcastle and Aston Villa next season?" And you were not dismissive of Villa, but you were very wary to say that they will go on and challenge for the top 8 next season or something like that. What do you think their goal is for next season?
I don't dismiss top 8. I think they can get top 8. Don't get me wrong. It's sort of top 4. Yeah, I think they're a club going in the right direction. Their ambition would be to do what we've done. Don't be surprised if they. See, the thing is, we like to get a bit down on ourselves at West Ham. Don't be surprised if they're saying at Aston Villa, we need to do a West Ham. We need to take ourselves from where we've been and actually let's get up there. Let's spend a couple of seasons in and around the top 6, which we've done, and let's get into Europe by hook or by crook, be it the Conference 1, or I don't know if you can still get in through fair play or whatever, or win a cup or something like that. There's,
fair play. Fair play's not been on the go since we got in through Allardyce. That was the last team.
Oh, I don't know, mate.
It's been a while.
Oh no, I don't know. Is John Carew still playing for Villa?
No, he's not still playing. Neither is Patrick Berger, believe it or not.
Oh, okay.
Ashley Young is still. Ashley Young's still there.
Yes, yeah, he was around. Yeah, he's older than me. I think do a West Ham, basically. That's got to be their goal. And I'm pretty sure Steven Gerrard will have his sights set on even higher than that. But that would be a really good thing. Cut out the bad start to the season, and they'd be up and around the top 6, at the moment. They really would. I'm pretty sure of that. So, onwards and upwards for Villa, no doubt about it.
Yeah, I completely agree. I think they've got to be challenging for the top 8 next season. They're not going to have European football. They've got to use that to their advantage. Either go after trying to break into that bit of the league or go after domestic cup. They should be winning trophies, that club. They have to be. Steven Gerrard, as a manager, should be winning trophies. The players they've got, they're fantastic players. We'll get on to them in a second. But I find myself, I quite like Aston Villa, to be honest with you, but I find myself, I'm going to say this for like the 5th time this year. I don't care. As you know, I like success stories in football for the right reasons. And I find myself rooting for Derby County for obvious reasons. But I find myself rooting a little bit for Villa because of the Jack Grealish thing. I'm just thoroughly impressed the way they've done it. The players haven't quite worked out. Ings is now getting a little bit better. We're not really seeing the best of Buendia. He's probably going to suffer Coutinho. Leon Bailey's been a disaster with injuries. They might offload him in the summer. But what they did was they planned. They knew he was likely going to depart. They went and signed all those 3 players before Jack Grealish had even left the building. So then, when they did get 100 million in, no club could have them over a barrel. And I like the way that the top dog came out and addressed the fans immediately. Jack Grealish has gone to City. Here's a video from the chief executive or whatever explaining why Jack Grealish has left. And he's just, I think, when it gets announced, a bit like when Declan Rice leaves, there'll be a bit of resentment towards a club a little bit, saying, well, this is lack of ambition. We need to keep this guy at the club at all costs. But when that executive did his video and said, well, hang on a minute, last year you'd only sign a contract if there was a 100 million release clause in it. We gave him it, he signed it. City have met it. There's nothing we can do. I think it took the focus and the anger and frustration away from the club and just directed it solely at Jack Grealish when it became almost like selling an asset to traitor to some extent. But I was thoroughly impressed the way that Aston Villa as a club done the business back then. I hope that we have a similar plan if Declan Rice goes this summer. And now moving on to certain players, take your pick. Give me the players you admire from Aston Villa.
Well, I think, whilst it's easy to talk about Coutinho and he has brought a touch of class, I think what has happened to Ramsey since he's come in is nothing short of sensational. I mean, he really does look like a superb player. Good size as well. Not bothered by the physical nature of the league, certainly. I really do. I feel like it's almost unlocked bringing Coutinho in. And listen, clearly Gerrard's played some part in this, has unlocked the potential for him, which has given them, I know they've tweaked the formation ever so slightly recently, but it certainly gave them an extra dimension to the attack. And you've got to watch out now because you can't just focus on Coutinho. You can't just focus on Ings or whoever else is playing. You've got to watch out for this kid as well. And he looks as good as anything. I wasn't surprised at all to see Southgate talking that he might be involved in the England squad at some point. So he's done well. Well done, Villa. Well done with their academy as well. I think, but he's made a lot of players better. Gerrard, Matty Cash has looked like a player reborn as well. We liked him from before, from when he was at Nottingham Forest. He looks really good now as well. It hadn't worked out for Ings, that transfer, but again, Gerrard's got him playing, and whilst he hasn't been massively prolific, it appears that the goals are starting to come now. The other one was Watkins. If he's going to drip him in, then absolutely fine. And I always think you're going to need a leader as well. And I always, thought that Tyrone Mings is a good captain, gives good leadership to the squad. So there you go.
He's still my players. I wanted to discuss Ramsey and Cash. Ramsey in particular, I agree with you. He is sensational. I've not seen a player so young, so two-footed in a long, long time. He's comfortable on his left hand. I'm not even sure what foot he uses. I mean, pretty sure he's right-footed. But you give him it to his left foot, he's just as good. He's just a ridiculous talent. I actually look forward to watching him when I watch Aston Villa play. Villa is quite well known. They're in the market for a centre midfielder. They were in January, where there was Ward-Prowse or Basuma, and they will be again this summer. They're eyeing up Calvin Phillips, reportedly. I tell you what, it won't be Ramsey that's missing out in the team. I'm afraid Douglas Luiz is going to have to worry about his spot of the team a little bit. But also Matty Cash, I mean, there's some players we get linked to and you look at them and think, glad we never got them. But there's also some you look at and you think, massively, who's at fault for this? Who decided not to pursue this signing? Who balked at Nottingham Forest asking price for Matty Cash? Because he's unbelievable. In the last couple of games, he's been their best player alongside Coutinho from right back. He's their biggest goal threat from right back as well. His goal against Leeds the other night was fantastic. Shifts onto his left foot and bangs it in. You're thinking, Jesus, this guy's incredible. And the formation that Steven Gerrard plays, they need to get their width from the fullbacks. They've got to get forward. They've got no wingers in the team. And when you've got Lucas Dean and flipping Matty Cash on the other side, I think you're doing all right. I think you've got some good options. But another player I always wish we signed was Emi Martinez. I think he's a top goalkeeper. Sort of the king of mind games, if you like. So if we get a penalty, I'm expecting us to miss it because we're not the best at penalties anyway. We're like a goalkeeper and they're playing mind games. But I think he's just utter class. Lots of good players, Aston Villa. Lots and lots of good players. Now we're going to discuss West Ham. But before we do, just quickly, it's a home game, so the boats are running. So you fancy joining a few West Ham fans at a West Ham sort of based atmosphere, just 2 minutes from London Stadium, you can join us on the boats. Gonzo will be there with a drink in his hand on Sunday afternoon. The links to get a ticket is in the description below. There is no charge. It's free, but you need to register because there's a capacity. Instead, when you go down to the boats on the gate, there's a bucket. If you could donate a couple of quid, that'd be appreciated. That money goes to the Iron Supported Food Bank at the end of the day as well. So there's no extra charge. Give a couple of quid if you can. And yeah, so you fancy a beer or barbecue, links in the description. Click on it. I'll tell you all the details. Right, Gonzo, no Jared Bowen. David Moyes has confirmed what we suspected. Jared Bowen is out. He also confirmed we're relatively unscathed from Thursday night, whatever that means. But I think we've got a bit of a dilemma here. What do we do in terms of the lineup? Do we make a ridiculous amount of changes? Do we make no changes? Do we mix it up a little bit? Because I feel this game's quite important. We'll get into the importance of the game in a little bit, but what are you thinking change-wise?
Well, I wouldn't worry about that because David Moyes will be thinking this game is important. A lot of managers speak in cliches, and David Moyes is prone to a little fib or two. But when he turns around and says the next game is the most important, he means it. That's not a cliche for him. He actually does mean it. So this game will take utmost importance. I think he'll make little or no changes at all. You might see Ben Rama start ahead of Vlasic just because I don't think he knows himself. He's undecided who is the better choice for him. Aside from that, I think you'd be looking at very, very little change at all, mate.
No, I agree with you, by the way, but let's forget predictions and what you want to see. Start with your goalkeeper, please. Lucas Fabianski time.
Yeah, I'll put Fabianski back in there. Yeah, definitely would for this one. Yeah, it's a funny one for this one, Geo, actually, because there's two ways this can go. This is that players, I don't think we rotate enough. And I said this before, that players think they have to play for their place against Sevilla. I just don't think we do that. I think players know that they're playing. I think I've already mentioned it. Even someone like Diop, even if Diop, let's say Craig Dawson's car broke down on the way there and he couldn't make the game, right? And I'd say that because it means he's not injured, right? His car breaks down. Diop gets man of the match. It doesn't matter. Diop, there's no motivation because Diop knows it doesn't matter because Dawson will play against Sevilla. There is only one space up for grabs, and that is the one I just said. And it might be it might be Vlasic, it might be Ben Rama. So what would I do? I would swap Diop in for this one, but I don't expect Moyes to. And I would play the. I'd possibly see, the thing is, if they're going to have width and they're going to have, do we really want to double up on that side if they're getting all their width really from just fullbacks? It might be a time for us to revert back to the 5 at the back, to be perfectly honest. So I would be looking to do that. So I'd obviously have Diop and Zuma in there, Cresswell in his sneaky old position, and Fornals as the left wing back.
And the right wing back, Brian Johnson.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, for that one, yeah.
See, I would like to see some changes rang out here. I think we have to give ourselves the best chance on Thursday against Sevilla. It's already going to be difficult. And I felt against Sevilla last night, we were struggling in the last 15, 20 minutes. I thought fatigue was creeping in. We can't do that on Thursday. We've got to be at it for 90 minutes and possibly even extra time. We cannot have tired legs out there on Thursday night. They will pick us apart. Their substitutions, I thought, was brilliant during the game. They were bringing all players for like, and then they brought off their winger and stuck on a left back and just tightened up and stuff. I was very impressed by Sevilla's subs, and we don't have that benefit. We don't have 5 substitutions to make on Thursday. We just don't. We've probably got about 2. We've got 2 players on the bench we can maybe bring on. And I think we've got to take that into consideration. So I'd like to see a back 4, assuming he's fit. Harrison Ashby at right back. Issa Diop, Craig Dawson in centre back, and Ben Johnson left back. I don't want to see Zuma. I don't want to see Cresswell. I think I want to see them protected. They're too important for us. So is Ben Johnson, but I think Ben Johnson will cope a bit better than those two. And it's a good game for Ashby, I think, because they don't have a left winger. They might change it. Gerrard might change it. They played on Thursday night as well, so he may make a couple of changes. But I think it'd be foolish to, after 3 wins on the bounce where they scored 9 goals and conceded none, I think it'd be a bit silly to then suddenly change your formation a little bit. They're coming into this game with swagger. So I think Carson Ashby having no direct opponent might actually benefit him a little bit, and we need to attack down the wings a little bit. And while Ben Johnson's not great at it, I think Ashby is. Now, moving on to midfield, what you're saying, I mean, it's the big question, is Declan Rice, do you or don't you?
Yeah, I would start Declan in this one. Yeah, I don't think he's tired. I think he actually, probably needs to get some sharpness back in his legs after his little illness there. So, yeah, I'd put him in there. I would drop Souček for this one, though, because I do think he does look tired. I really do. And I also think it's not just the fatigue. I think... And this is one thing I don't think Moyes does well. I said this of Antonio. Earlier on in the season, when Antonio was playing really crap, I said it was time for messaging. Remember what I said? I said, actually, if I was Moyes in training ground, I'd do me 11v11 and I'd take Antonio out of the starting 11 and put Perkins in there, or anyone, Yarmolenko up there, anyone, and just say, look, Mikel, I'm just trying something out, mate. I'm just trying something out here. So we're just going to put you in the second string 11. Get him thinking, get his mind thinking, hold on a second, what's going on? Am I in there? And I'll tell you what, if in training Perkins was scoring, I'll be going, well done, lad, that's good. Okay, what I want to do is Perkins, I want to give you some extra drills. I'll just make it really evident on the training ground that Mikel was being sidelined a little bit, and I'm working, I'm honing. It would make it look like I'm grooming someone for the striker role. And I just think messaging is quite important. I'd send some messaging to Souček, actually, on this one, which is, I'd say the right thing. So we're going to give you a little rest for this one. And then I'll probably send messaging out in the press how impressive Mark Noble's been and how he's the captain of the club, and this is last season, and we really want him to achieve some glory. And I'd start with Mark Noble in the middle for this one. So he's getting it both barrels. He's seeing it on the training ground. He's hearing it in the media. So Souček's thinking, hold on, I might not start against Sevilla. He needs to start doing some tricks, I feel, Moyes. So that's what I'll do. Rice, Noble, Lanzini in the middle.
I've got 3 completely different players to you. I've got Alex Kral, and the reason being, Mark Coutinho. There's not many good players. There's not many players in the Premier League where I think it's worth sacrificing one of your team members to just try and mark someone at the game. There's not that many. I think Coutinho is. I think he's that good. It's almost worth having a crowd being his shadow. And it's a horrible job. It's like, mate, you just got to chase this guy for 90 minutes around the park. But if you stop Coutinho, you stop a big part of their game plan a little bit. And I would have Kral in there because I don't want to see Declan Rice play. I mean, funny enough, I've got Souček in there for the same reason as you, messaging, which is you ain't playing on Thursday, so you're playing on Sunday. I would say to Souček, you're not playing on Thursday, but you play today. Unless you're ridiculously man of match or something, I might consider it. But have another performance that we've seen from you in the last 3-4 months, then you ain't playing on Thursday night. The game's massive. We need to go attacking. You contributed next to nothing. The guy actually got into the box quite good against Sevilla, Souček. 2 or 3 occasions he got in there and got crosses in. All 3 times he ended up on the deck. They weren't fouls. They were just defenders giving a little nudge, and he was just down. I thought, what's this? This geezer used to be impossible to beat in the air, and you've got somebody half a foot smaller than him, just giving him a little nudge, and he's on the deck. And I thought, oh, no, I'm not enjoying this. So I'd have Souček and McCrall and Pablo Fornals because I want to have a look at him in a number 8 position. I was actually quite impressed by our tactics and our formation against Sevilla. It just needs tweaking. So is Fornals one of the tweaks we can do where he goes in the middle of the park and we get him on the ball a little bit more? So I'd give him almost an addition against Aston Villa in a deeper role. The problem is he's got Carl and Souček next to him, but I can't take my mind off Thursday, Gonzo. Anyway, the remainder of your team. I think you got 3 players left.
No, I've got 2. Benrahma and Antonio.
Ooh, both up front.
Yeah, Benrahma right next to him. And I would say to Benrahma again, I would send the messaging out. I'd say, okay, you're starting this game. I understand you're annoyed that I substituted you. I'm going to give you 90 minutes, and I would say when the team are watching the tape of Aston Villa, I'll just say to Benrahma, see him and point to Coutinho. I want you to do an impression of him. All right, do that. Go and do that. You've got 90 minutes. Show me how wrong I am, and that's what I'd do.
Yeah, I've got Benrahma in as well, along with Vlasic and Antonio, but only like a half for Antonio. He cannot play 90 minutes. Antonio needs to come off. He's been in good form. I thought he looked good against Sevilla as well. I think he's been playing quite well. But he's always flagging with 15, 20 minutes to go. He's always blowing out his arse, which is fine because he's giving 100%. That's okay. But you need to protect him. You need to look after him a little bit and get him off the pitch once he's done. And I think it's important that you take him off, you pat him on the back and say, well done, mate. And the next game he starts again. You're placing, you're not coming off because of poor performance. You're coming off because I need you for the next game. So I'd start Antonio, and he's reluctantly, really. But as you can see, I'm resting. I'd like to rest Zuma, Caswell, Rice, and Lanzini. I think they are arguably our 4 most important players as well as Antonio going into Thursday night. Is this still an important game? We've also got Sevilla, which we're happy through, but I feel like we almost need a bit of a safety blanket, Gonzo, and that is if things go wrong on Thursday and we go out, we can immediately turn our attention to the league and we're in with a chance of European football.
It's a very important game. There's no doubt about it. You just don't know what's going to happen. There's some you can sort of predict Arsenal are going to be pretty consistent between now and the end of the season. That much we understand. Obviously we beat Wolves. That's looked like a good win, particularly based off what we saw yesterday. Tottenham, I don't know I just don't know what Tottenham turns up. Leeds, Tottenham, Middlesbrough, Tottenham, Man City, Tottenham. I just don't know. So they're very, very hard to predict. We don't know what they're going to do. And the same can be said of Manchester United. They are impossible to call. So there are, and then you've got the added thing of Chelsea as well. And I know you would look at it under any other circumstances, by any measurement, and I know they beat Norwich yesterday, you would look at that and think, oh, they're too far gone. But do not dismiss the impact it can have on a club if people start losing their jobs and people don't know if they're going to get their pay packet. And even if it's not true, when there are talks, when anything big happens, Geo, right? And I mean anything, people like to talk, but people get their little degrees in social media and they suddenly know everything. It was like Brexit. Suddenly everyone knew everything about Article 50 when no one had even spoken about it before. Suddenly everyone knows everything about Ukraine at the moment. Just everyone knows everything. And suddenly people don't know, because this is uncharted territory. What happens when the UK government sees control, basically, of a football club as an asset? You don't know. So actually, when you hear these stories that they're going to cease to be trading in 17 days or whatever, or it's a possibility, don't think that everyone at that club's cockily thinking, load of old rubbish. That's not the... People will be worried. Not only that, people will be at the moment actively looking at that club and actively looking to get their agents to get them out of there. Find us a loophole. The players at the Russian clubs are out. Let us get out of here. Let me find a loophole. Let's find a legal loophole so we can terminate our contracts. That will be going on right now. And don't dismiss the impact that can have on a club's league form, right from the top to the bottom. So anything can happen with 2 or 3 of those clubs, aside from Arsenal. We've got to keep in there, Gio. We've got to get back into some winning form. just to put pressure on and just to make sure that we're in and around, that come the last 2 games, we can strike for 5th or 6th place. That's what we need to do. So it's massively important.
Yeah, I agree. But also my team would suggest that I don't think it's that important. I just think Sevilla takes priority over Sunday, unfortunately. And I don't want another Jared Bowen situation where a player limps off in the game and we don't have him for Thursday night. We need everybody available to go out there and give it the best shot. I almost think we owe to the fans to some extent. The fans that travelled out to Sevilla in the thousands in the last few days, they've had a good time, obviously, but we'll owe it to the fan base. Say thank you for your support. We're taking this competition seriously. We're going to give ourselves the best chance of getting into the quarterfinals. With the greatest respect, if we beat Aston Villa in 2 years' time, no one's going to remember it. Do you remember that time we beat Villa 1-0? No, not really, mate. When was that? Well, Alex Coutinho out of the game, and Moyes sent a message, and Antonio scored.
We might, because we remember when Fredericks marked Grealish out of the game, so you never know.
Yes, that's it. But that was because it was tactical genius and one-off. We're yet to see some tactical genius like that since, until Alex marks Coutinho out of the game. Yeah. But we're not going to talk about it. But we will talk about Sevilla if we can put them out of the cup. Even if it goes to extra time and penalties and we get put out in pens, we'll still talk about it. We were there, we ran that game, how well West Ham did, and we competed with one of the biggest clubs in European football. But also next Sunday we play Tottenham, which is a huge 6-pointer. And I think that gives you, like, if you muck up on Sunday against Villa a little bit, I think you can get out of jail with it if you can get something against Spurs next Sunday. It is a big game. I just think Thursday is a little bit bigger for me. I say a little bit; it's massively bigger. Are you confident for this one?
No, I couldn't say that I am for this one. There you go. At least I'm not consistent. There you go. I was massively confident at Sevilla. I still am, as you know. But no, it's hard to be confident for this one because I think it's really hard just in terms of human nature. I'm doing it. I'm looking forward to next Thursday. And I say that as somebody that's going to both games and going to Aston Villa at the game, and I'm going to. But I tell you what, you asked me, you're going to the football on Sunday? Yeah, you're going to football on Thursday? Yes. That's me.
12 noon, I'll be there. 8 hours for kick-off, I'm ready.
Absolutely. So I cannot blame the players for doing exactly the same thing. You can't deny human nature. You really can't. So how much of an eye have we got on it? You may well find in this game that Aston Villa want to win it a bit more than West Ham do. And I totally understand that. I totally do. So that makes it hard to be confident.
Yeah, I'm optimistic because I think Moyes won't play the team. He's going to play your team more than mine, which I don't think we'll see any changes. Maybe the one, like he said, Ben Rama for Lasic, and that's it. So arguably we'll have our best team available out to face Villa. They play Thursday night as well, so they've not got... you could argue about the small margins, the fact that they played in England, we played in Spain and stuff like that. But in terms of kickoff time, well, they kicked off 2 hours after us, actually. So they've played Thursday and Sunday. So we've got the same sort of situation going on here. But I'm not confident at all. It's just because we've been a bit crap recently. We've been a bit unlucky in the last couple of games, but I don't think we've won in 5 games now or something like that. It's not great. We're not scoring many goals. I think we scored 3 goals in 5 games. It's not great. We're missing big chances. We're creating the chances, which is the hardest bit. But we ain't scoring them. We're coming up against a team with 3 clean sheets on the bounce and they've scored 9 goals in 3 games. And they've got one of the best players in the Premier League at the minute, sitting in that number 10 role. And we struggle. We struggle when teams come down the middle against us. Leeds did it. Leeds came in the league game. Leeds just came straight down the middle of the pitch and we couldn't cope. They overran our midfield. Souček cannot Scooby what to do. And this Villa team played with 3 sort of centre midfielders and Coutinho in the 10 with 2 strikers. I think we're going to massively struggle on Sunday, actually. I don't think we're going to cope with Watkins and Ings. I don't think we're going to cope with Coutinho. I don't think we're going to cope with Ramsey, McGinn and Douglas Luiz. And I'm worried, actually. I'm trying to sort of prepare for a defeat so that it doesn't hurt that much, and I look ahead to Thursday. But in regards to being confident, not really. Can I get any final words from yourself as well as your all-important score prediction, please?
Yeah, look, just repeat what I said there. It is all about Thursday, but just try and that's where mind games come in with the team. Man management comes in with the team. Just to play some tricks with certain players to try and switch the focus onto this game. We spoke about in the Liverpool preview about Jurgen Klopp recruiting staff that just work on mindsets and neuroscience and positive thinking. All right, maybe we don't have to go that far, but actually just a good man management. Harry Redknapp would tell you that for instance, that he was doing that years ago, you know, without having a degree of doing it, actually. So I think if we can do that, then we can get something from the game. And I still think we're hard to break down. I still think we're hard to beat. I don't quiver and shake Ollie Watkins and Danny Ings and Coutinho. Fine players, but we've just seen some fine players against Sevilla. We just saw some fine players against Liverpool, so on and so forth. And even when we're not playing well, we don't tend to concede, shed loads of goals. I'm actually going to go with the same prediction that I did here. I'm actually going to go with 0-0.
I'm not looking forward to it, really. I think we'll put out our first team a little bit. I've just been thoroughly impressed by Aston Villa, and I think we're going to get shown up a little bit. And it might end up being a bit of a silver lining, actually, that it sort of wakes us up ahead of Thursday night, and a defeat at home to fans might be not a kick up the arse, but a little bit of a kick up the arse, because some players do need it. Not all of them, but some of them do need something. And I think Sunday might deliver that. So I'm going to say West Ham 0, Aston Villa 2, unfortunately. That's what I think. Anyway, if you somehow enjoyed this preview, despite the negativity, you can drop a like on it, subscribe if you're new to the channel. West Ham kick off at 2 o'clock on Sunday, so we'll be live at 12:55. Ham Utd, your one-stop shop for everything you need on a match day. We'll catch you in a bit.